worked for the Navy.
Yes, I was in the Navy for 12 years, and then I worked for a couple private military contractors for a couple of years.
So what was the process of going from before working in the Navy? Was working in the Navy something that you envision yourself being a part of, or was it something that I'll give it a try and then we'll figure it out?
Yeah, it was more of just joining the military in
Mhm.
general. I actually wanted to join the Air Force and be a pilot. And then just through the process of dealing with, family, my mom saying, yeah, I could join the military at a young age, going to different recruiters and going through their process, I ended up joining the Navy and I went overseas to Japan for almost 4 years
Mm.
in the regular, what we'd call the regular military. And I was about to get out of the Navy and I had the opportunity to go through the Navy dive program for the Explosive Ordnance Disposal. It's
Mhm.
the Navy's version of the bomb squad
Mhm.
that are also dive capable. I had that opportunity and I went through a year training cycle for them and made it through. And then that kept me in for another 10 years and did special operations with an Army Green Beret unit doing counterterrorism operations, which kind of got me into some other trade craft skill sets, a little bit away from Navy diving into counterterrorism and IED type of career fields.
And what was that process like? Because I remember speaking with recruiters. I was never interested in joining the military, but I was interested in talking with them and understanding what their experience was like. And some of them would tell me that, it was all fun and games until you were actually in in,
In harm's way.
yeah. And I mean, like, it was
So,
pretty crazy.
unfortunately, over the last couple of decades, the majority of people that I've seen join the military, they don't do it necessarily out of patriotism to
Mhm.
the American flag or the Constitution. And I want to highlight it's for me, it wasn't about who the president was, who was sitting in Congress. It's about the American flag and the Constitution of the United States of what that represents. I'm not saying we currently live by that. We should be living by that. It's probably the greatest written document in the world as far as freedom and liberties to people from anywhere. That was my driving factor of joining the military. I wanted to serve my community, but I wanted to do it at the highest level. And serving, representing your flag, whether it's in the Olympics, the sporting games, or in the military, I think that's probably one of the highest honors to do.
Mhm.
There's also this, you get education, you get travel, you get a steady paycheck. It's not a big paycheck, but at least it's steady. They feed you, they house you, and it kind of gets you, allows your feet to grow underneath you and get a little bit of experience and then decide, hey, is this military career really the path I want to take, or do I want to go off into the civilian world? And they're completely two different organizations. The military is based off training and operations, while the civilian world that supplies the military with all the hardware and equipment is they're all for profit organizations. And so there's a clear operating difference between a military person and a civilian person, just based off rules and risks and what the mission actually is. And unfortunately, last couple decades, a lot of people joined the military because it was a sure thing, a sure paycheck, until you realize, like, you find yourself in a combat zone. And most people, I mean, I've met people that have been through special operations training that once they got deployed into harm's way, it wasn't for them.
Mhm. And I mean, what was that transition like? Because being in harm's way and then coming to civil life, and we know that we see a lot of issues with a lot of people that do come, a lot of vets, and it's hard for them to transition into everyday life from being in the combat zone.
It is, man. It's I'm working on a course right now, a framework for, particularly for veterans on how they transition into civilian life. And I'll give you one example. Rules in the military generally exist out of blood, meaning somebody's performed an action that resulted in injury or death. And so we make a rule. Don't do that behavior or that, event because this is what happens historically. And so in the military, when we look at our rules, they generally mean something. They add value to either the mission success or they manage risk. Where in the civilian world, you'll get a lot of rules that are about corporate, like, I got to protect the brand image. And in the military, you still want to protect your brand image against the other services because it's fun. But in the corporate world, it comes back down to profit. So right now, I work on a project for an aerospace engineering company, and I've probably went through a list of half of our rules that a veteran would just say, this is nonsense. It's actually a waste of time and resources. But they have to understand that the mission is different. That corporation is for profit, right? And in order to maintain profit, they got to keep contracts, which means they've got to be held to certain regulatory standards. Where in the military, it was much more simpler for you. Like I was saying, they'll provide your housing, they'll provide your food, they'll provide the uniform. They tell you what to do, when to do it, where to go. In the civilian world, all of that structure kind of goes away. And if you don't have if you already have a firm structure in place from the military going into the civilian world, you think you would be ready and prepared for it. Like you got everything lined up. But you find out the rules mean different things. And then people's priorities, like particularly people in leadership roles in civilian companies, they think that they're doing a good job making decisions and leading their teams. And what I find out is that they're not really making good judgments. Like they make decisions, they make them fast, but there's a difference of how we make fast decisions in the military, and that separates military people from civilian people, and that causes a lot of conflict. And what we see with the veterans is that the veterans end up going to a mental state that says, none of this matters. Like, what's the purpose of this? And that's a death trap for a veteran to say, what's this? What's the purpose of doing today's events? It does nothing. We're not being shot at. We're not saving somebody's life. Like they don't understand what the true purpose is. So the framework is to help them redo their operating system so that they can operate effectively in the civilian world like they've done in the military by reframing how they view things.
Because the same could be applied to even people that grow up in the hood. You know, if you're
100%.
if you grew up in constant fear of being or running into a certain group of people constantly, you and then you get out of that environment stays with you.
Yeah, you stay on edge, you stay a little antsy, a little paranoid. Absolutely.
And that's what we have an issue with helping people out with. And you know, we have prisons. We know that prisons really don't do a good job in rehabilitating people, uh,
Not at all.
but it's a constant cycle, and it really comes down to the trauma experience being in a certain environment.
It, the direct effect is what we see. We see the results of that
Mhm.
trauma. I don't want to say that trauma is what caused it. There's always going to be something historically that makes us how we are. It's how we manage and react to our past in order to move forward. So whether somebody's coming out of the military or out of I have a Mexican friend of mine that grew up in a gang torn area in Mexico, now lives in Arizona, and he still has a little bit of problem. Like he doesn't like, I'll take some enduro bike trips down to Baja, Mexico, and he's Mexican and will not go with me. He's like, he has PTSD from it. He goes, Trevor, I grew up every day with gunfights on the corner, drugs everywhere. He goes, that's my perception of my home country, and I don't want to go back to it. And I go, man, my perception is riding through Baja, California, Baja, Mexico, with sand dunes and mountains and oceans, and it's completely peaceful. So our perception, we call it cognitive bias. Our perception plays a significant role into it, how we move forward. And I know I said I'm working on a framework particularly for veterans because it's just where my passion is right now.
Mhm.
But you're absolutely right. It could apply to anybody that has any sort of trauma, whether it was physical violence growing up, uh, anything to do with, molestation, just violence in the home, something that you witnessed. It's how we view that and reframe it and move forward positively.
Yeah, because And we see it with pets as well, because if a pet lives in a violent household, they will hold on to that. And then that's what the whole rehoming process is, placing that pet in a home and teaching it love and all of this. So we know we do this with animals. We could also do this with humans. And, you wrote the book on veterans, but we could apply those same principles to people, how to help them deal with that, or with the fact that it's safe. You just need to learn how to cope with certain with this environment, right?
Mhm. 100%. It's interesting you say that about the animals, particularly dogs. I find it bizarre that you can take a particular person and they will provide love and affection to a strange dog that they've never met before, but yet to another fellow human being in need, it's like they just shy away from it and don't want to be a part of it. And I don't understand the psychology there.
Yeah, and I mean, we were speaking that I live in Vegas now. You moved from Vegas, so we do see a lot of homelessness issues here in Vegas, and also we know that veterans experience a level of homelessness, and it could be because of that effect of that fear component.
Absolutely. Our VA system is not, it's pretty well known that it's a broken system. Like it's designed to help veterans, but the last decade, particularly, veterans don't really get the mental assistance that they need either while they're in active duty or coming out of active duty. And that's something that I hope that we can affect some sort of positive change over the next couple of years with, because it's quite sad seeing a person who was functioning quite well for a number of years in a career field and then transition to another career field and fell miserably at it.
And that's kind of what you're saying with the military, that you take them from being in the military to civil life, and they just can't do a smooth transition. Like, what helped you transitioning from the military to civil life?
It was a massive struggle for a number of years. Like it now that I've personally experienced it or realized that I've actually experienced that, that was a driving factor to start working on this course. What really helped me was family, friends, and communicating with people. Like I still take a few days to myself and just go out, kind of be a recluse, but I'm reflecting on past experiences and trying to almost self-author myself, like ask myself, why do I have this fear? Why do I think this means nothing? Like in the military, I had a mission and an objective, and I had teammates that were also focused on that same one. Where in the corporate world right now, yeah, we have a mission statement, but I am really focused on completing that mission. And then you have a handful of other people that there's nothing wrong with them. It's their day job. They're not passionate like I am about what we make. And I'm passionate about it because it's going to be a weapon system that potentially will save American lives. And that, to me, I've been on that side where other countries' weapon systems failed to function as designed. Had they, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm passionate about designing and engineering reliable weapon systems to protect our nation. Other people, it was just a job for them. It was out of college. And so that creates a conflict in the product that you're making because you're not in full alignment. Where in the military, probably 90% of the people are in alignment with what they're supposed to be doing.
So, so, so there's also like some conflict in the workplace, because I've seen this, and it's not necessarily, as you mentioned, like something wrong with them, but it's just like experience. People, or some people just haven't had that experience, that specific experience to
Right.
do or to have this perception, and it goes back to the perception. So you come to it with a different perception and with what needs to be done, and then there's others that just sit behind a desk, and to them it could even be just numbers and if it's going to make a profit or not.
Yeah. And one of the things I really like about the company Everyday Spy is
Mhm.
that Andy said, we want to help people break barriers that are willing to break barriers. So we're not trying to push products or anything on anyone unless you're asking for assistance. And that's the key here. Like a lot of people will just get negative and they'll get down on themselves and they're reacting to life events. They think they're making decisions, but really the decision was forced upon them because they're not slowing things down and reflecting and asking, what's the second and third effect when I make this decision? Like, what's the outcome? And then that outcome, where does that spread to? And so with the clients we get from Everyday Spy, they all have identified a barrier that they want to break down. And then us using our tradecraft skills, if I can't break that barrier down, I'm intelligent enough and experienced enough to know who to reach out to and bring them on the team so that we can help you break a barrier. Most people say they want to get fit. They say they
Mhm.
want to get healthy. How many people actually take action every single day and progress towards that? Not a lot of people do that. You see at the beginning of the year, January, I bet they're in
Mhm.
Las Vegas.
Mhm.
I remember all the gyms marketing in December and January for the first of the year. And those gyms are super busy for like the first
Mhm.
month and it dwindles off. And we see it around the nation, right? It's people are too busy. There's too much noise in the world for people to actually slow down and focus on one particular thing and become better at that.
Mhm. And I mean, I even had conversations with friends. I had a friend the other day saying, you know what, I kind of want to open up a restaurant. I want to do this and that. I'm like, well, why don't you do it? I mean, just do it. Like, don't even think about it. Just do it. Because
Why
if
you
you
telling
just
me?
say,
Yeah.
I want to do such and such, you're just going to get stuck with saying, I'm going to do such and such. The same thing with working out. It starts just by doing it. You don't it's not one of those things that like you need to plan to start on a single day. If you make up your mind that say you're going to start eating better or go working out or whatever, just do it then and there.
Yeah. So there's a thing about habits.
Mhm.
People think they need to break bad habits. I'm pretty positive that I believe this right now, and the science and the data says this as well, is that you can't just stop a habit. You have to replace that habit. So, for example, if somebody's a smoker and you want to stop smoking, well, replace that bad habit with a good habit. Every time you go to pick up that pack of cigarettes, just pause it for 5 minutes, go for a walk for 5 minutes, and come back. You can do it for 2 minutes, 10 minutes. Just go for a walk, come back. And if you still have to do it, okay, now we have to address that. But I can't just stop doing something. I need to
Mhm.
replace a bad habit with a good habit. And this comes back to having people slow down and reflect like, what are the bad habits? And the way I define bad habits, and somebody has to define them for themselves, but is it take away from my health? Does it add value of resources, time and money and energy back into my family or my community or the work effort that I'm doing? And if the habit takes away from my health or takes away from my resources, then I consider it a bad habit and I'm not going to do it 100% of the times. Like, having a glass of wine. I had a glass of wine last night. I'm not going to do it every day,
Mhm.
but that's the habit. It's not a bad habit because I feel I'm doing it once a week. If I did it every single night, it becomes a bad habit. So we ask people to look at their habits throughout the day and then for them to classify which ones are bad and which ones are good. Like if they're good, they're moving you forward. And then just take one bad one. You don't have to take them all. Take one bad one and replace it with something positive that will help you get further ahead. And if you can do that with one simple thing, and reframe your mind that you're not stopping a bad habit, you're switching it. You're replacing it for something more valuable and you recognize how negative it was to your life. If you can do that one time and stay with it 4 to 6 weeks, your mind will start to shift and go, oh, this is actually beneficial. That's called personal experiences. It goes
Mhm.
back to changing that cognitive bias. You're reframing it yourself, and then you can pick another bad habit and replace that.
And I'm sure that it's also a thing that people convince themselves that the habit that they do have is not bad, right? That's also a thing.
I started laughing because I knew what you were going to say. Oh man, we as human beings, we can justify anything to ourselves. Like today, I may say, "Oh, I'm not gonna step on that kitten." Tomorrow, I might step on the kitten. I will find a way, or we will find a way to rationalize it and justify it in our heads. And that becomes emotional, an emotional bias, right? And that's
Mhm.
something that we talk about at Everyday Spy a lot is being able to read. We start with talking about reading media and reading what other people are saying and reading their personalities and then reading our own personality. Am I that type of person that justifies and rationalizes all these bad habits? And I use the term self authoring. If a person writes their habits down on a piece of paper, and then what's the outcome of this habit? Negative health, increase in health. That is data. It's black and white data. You can't refute it. Now, whether you not you want to continue to rationalize the black and white is healthy or not healthy,
Mhm.
mate, that's ownership. It comes down to your ownership and accountability to yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, I do the same thing with, or when it comes down to eating healthy food, because I know that eating bad food, although, you see a bowl of ice cream, but then knowing that if I eat that bowl of ice cream, I'm going to feel like shit. So it's better
Yeah,
to just not do that.
yeah.
And some people may just give in. And I'm like, whatever. It, it's gonna taste good at the moment, and then you're going to think later, like, I feel like shit.
And then they do it again the next day
Hmm.
and the next day. Right? So it's really about the mental toughness and mental resiliency of people right now in the current society. Exterior environment isn't really designed to help empower individual human beings. It's almost designed not to get into theories, but it seems
Hmm.
like there's always a new thing out there for you, capturing your attention. Everything that pops up on your phone, your laptop, at the stores, it's all trying to capture your attention. And as soon as you realize the majority of that is noise around me, I need to focus on this. And my life got so much better. Like you had asked me, how did I transition? One of the ways was accepting that everything around me, for the most part, in my current life, was noise. I need to limit that noise away from me so I can focus on the things that I've decided or is my path to go down, right? And now I can actually like I used to be on social media, like I would once I got into it, man, I started scrolling. Like I was hooked. Somebody told me about how you can turn your screen into black and gray. I think it's gray and white, like a gray tone.
Hmm.
So there's no colors on it. Have you ever tried that?
I haven't. I've heard of it, and
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not fun to look at social media anymore. Like you're
Mhm.
looking for data, so you'll scroll because you're looking for something specific. But just to randomly flip through your phone like Instagram, it's not vibrant, it's not noisy, it's just, gray, black, white tones. And I realized like that's not that interesting. And so I've saved
Mhm.
myself like an hour a day by not just randomly scrolling.
Because we do live in a attention environment now, and we have so many different creators, companies just trying to grab your attention. Being in Vegas, you drive down the freeway, you see so many different billboards.
Mhm.
Everyone's just always advertising something.
Fighting for your attention, which we consider noise. And sorry, if it's not adding to your mission statement, to your objectives, then we consider it to be noise. And one of the people's first step is to recognize that you have this noise. Like if you are the person that wakes up in the morning and immediately grabs your phone and starts scrolling through, stop. I know Mark Zuckerberg one time said like that's the first thing he does. Hey mate, it's Mark Zuckerberg. Like I'm not going to tell him what to do, but general population that's got to get up, take care of their kids, get a workout in, look after themselves, and go to a 9 to 5 job, you don't have a lot of time in the day to be mucking around or to be wasting it. And don't waste it on noise. Like get up and get after the day. The one thing that I missed about the military when I first came out is that we would be up early in the morning, particularly in training while it's still dark. By 9 o'clock in the morning, we would have done more running, more swimming, more of a workout, already ate nutrition, already cleaned or maintained some sort of our equipment. We would do more by 9 o'clock than most people would do during the day. And the rest of our day was super simple. Like, hey, man, it's an easy day. We've already got most of it out of the way while we refresh. Let's just go have a good day. And that transition was hard going into the corporate world where you got to be there from like, punch the time, punch time. I think you were saying like around 5 p.m. Like,
Mhm.
hey, that's when we secure. So no matter what throughout the day, you're already just dragging to get through there. Right? But imagine if you could just get up and get after it, be done by noon, and then you could focus on a few other things. Like
Mhm.
I'm working with a company now on, yeah, you have to put in 9 hours a day, but what if those 9 hours are scattered, like, and they're not very efficient? It's better to have like 4 efficient hours that takes care of the 9 hours. So we look at how can I restructure my own life to be more efficient. One of those is not scrolling on the internet at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right? Like you get up early. Are you tired? Yeah, mate, just sleep faster. Like get up and get after it. Take that action. And you
Mhm.
said it earlier, just take action and move forward.
Yeah, because I'm usually up by like 4 in the morning, and I might be tired for like 5 minutes. The thing that I do, and this is just a trick that I developed. So I get up. The first thing that I do is go on my phone, but I just look at the notifications, any notifications that came from like the Wall Street Journal, how like the market is doing, and all of that, just to get that light in. But I only give myself a few minutes, and I'm up. And I go on with my day, do my workout, do all of that. By 6:30, I've already had so much of this done. I head off to work, be there at the office by 7 in the morning. And that's kind of like what I do. But there is people that get into that habit of just scrolling on their phone as soon as they wake up, and before they know it, it's like half an hour has passed by and they're still in bed.
'Cause you said it properly. You said you have an objective. You're looking at the market, you're looking at certain news outlets because in your career, if there's like yesterday, the US dollar, right before Trump announced the potential ceasefire in the Strait of Hormuz or with Iran, the US dollar started moving aggressively. And I was joking around with my kid. She walked by and I was like, oh, some event was just announced or happened. Like the market is reacting to something. And she's like, how do you know that? And we went and looked up the news and it was Trump's announcements about the ceasefire. So that is completely fine. Like you have an objective. I'm only going to do this for a couple of minutes, but I want to see if there's anything happening around the world while I was asleep that may affect my job of what I need to do or focus on today. There's absolutely no problem with that, right? You give yourself a couple of minutes, it helps you organize and plan your day. And then you get off with I'm going to do my workout, I'm going to hydrate, and then I'll be ready to shower and go off to my normal day-to-day life or look after my family. You've already prioritized yourself and you've taken care of yourself. Now you can spend the rest of the day with your company, with your community, with friends and family because you've already looked after yourself. Too many people make that excuse that I'll do it later. And later, you said it earlier with one of your mates, like, I want to open a restaurant. Mate, later never, never arrives. Like it's
Mhm.
now. And
Yeah.
you have to take that step forward.
Yeah, and I mean, people wonder like how I'm able to do so much because I do that. Like, I have my job. I'm at the office for say 10 hours a day. I still have this podcast. I still able to get like an hour and a half workout in every single day. Haven't missed a day, and it's because you need that structure. You need that foundation, and for me, it's one of the things like I just do it and figure it out later and see how I adapt to my schedule and how I'm able to coordinate with everything.
Yeah, perfect. So you said you should write that down for somebody. Like I, the figure it out later. Like, hey, look, I'll take a step forward. I'll put my running shoes on and I'll go open the back door. It's right there. Just take off running. Like, at least you put your shoes on. Like, you'll figure it out. Like, people think. I heard somebody one time. I was teaching a jujitsu class, and asked them like, "Hey, you want to come in and we'll just 30 minutes. We'll just show you a few things, what the gym, what the academy's about." And they were like, "Oh, I want to go get fitter first, and then I'll come in." I'm like, "I'm sorry, can you say that again? You come to the gym, we'll train you, you will get fitter. But if you wait for 2 months for you to get fit, hey, the guy that I'm training for the next 2 months will be so far ahead of you. Like, just start now." And I think I said earlier, the psychology I'm trying to figure out of people is we make so many excuses that when the time is right, we'll do it. And you always hear it. There's no right time.
Mhm.
Like, it's just now. Just go get it done. Put a mark on the calendar for 6 weeks from now and say, in 6 weeks, I'm going to do X. And just go through it. And if you don't go through with it, the problem's not the rest of the world. It's your
Mm.
lack of discipline and your lack of ownership. And that's the first thing that would need to get fixed.
And I think that's the issue is that owning your mistakes. And a lot of people don't do that. If something is not working out for you, you need to own it and figure out what or where you're going wrong because you need to change something. And I know that from doing it, it takes a really long time, a lot of discipline to get fit. And it's not only just your exercise, it's also the food that you eat. And a lot of people don't even count the calories that they eat. They don't measure the calories, the nutritional content of the food that they're eating, and then they don't know why nothing's working out. And it's because you need to measure and you need that discipline to be able to get to that goal. And it's not just black and white, it's not just two dimensional. There's a lot of factors that go into it.
It's not about just being in the gym. Have you spoken to Alex yet from Everyday Spy, our nutritionist, physio?
I have not, no.
He is a phenomenal. I have to put you in touch with him. He is a phenomenal fitness nutrition guru. He comes from a background where he had his own personal issues that the world, medicines and fitness regimes and nutrition just wasn't working for him. So he spent his early life figuring out his own body and his own nutrition, and then saw the amazing results that doctors were like, "No way, you can't, you shouldn't be this healthy." And so that became his career and his passion. And he runs multiple courses privately and then as well through Everyday Spy. And every time we start the class, we start talking about nutrition and very detailed type of nutrition and where to get that type of nutrition from. There's workouts involved, right? We
Mhm.
want the human body to move. But as you said, you feed it rubbish, you're going to get some rubbish results, right?
Right.
And look at Kennedy, like the food pyramid, that came
Mhm.
out around the 70s or so. He
Mhm.
finally just nixed that and they released a new one. If the world's not paying attention, that the United States government or the FDA or whoever you want to put the blame on pushed an unhealthy food pyramid to you, like, that's such a red flag.
Mhm.
People are not educated on what nutrition is. They have had decades of this: eat grains, eat processed foods, right? There's a lot of
Mhm.
people now on board realizing, oh, we shouldn't, that's not good for our bodies. And Alex is one of the best coaches that I've ever worked with or been around. And I used to own a CrossFit gym for a number of years. I'm well into the nutrition, but his brain and passion about it is
Mhm.
unbelievable. And I've not seen one of his clients not get fantastic results. They have to do the work, they have to do the
Mhm.
effort, but man, he's a great mentor and a guider.
Yeah, and it seems that a lot of people are just looking for like that quick result. They just want magic. They just want things to happen instantaneously.
What do you call that?
It's
What's the term for that?
instant gratification, right?
Instant gratification, right? Like, look at our fast food places. I mean, you can get drone deliveries at your house now. You can do your Starbucks orders from your bed. It will be sitting there on the counter when you drive by and pick it up, right? Everything is about now, now, now. And you said it's about the billboards, right? That becomes noise. It's super convenient. Like, by all means, use the convenience we have in the United States of America, because of the rest of the world is not this convenient. Use the convenience to your, I'll say, tactical advantage to move forward. But the reality is, a lot of that is just noise. And you have to realize, like, instant gratification, like that dopamine hit. It's
Mhm.
something Alex talk about, is the dopamine hit. How to get a dopamine hit naturally, either through the sun, being outside, eating proper foods that will release those. Your thought process, what thoughts release dopamine? And that's the feeling people are really chasing, right? That one scoop of ice cream, it's an immediate dopamine hit. And that's why it feels so good. So, hey, mate, if you like ice cream, cool. But how about reduce your portion by half and only
Mhm.
do it once a week, right?
Yeah.
And take pleasure in eating that one scoop of ice cream. Like, don't feel guilty for it.
Mhm.
Enjoy it. You're not eating seven and you're not doing it every day. That's cool.
Yeah, and I mean, me personally, I like Halo Top. I know Halo Top is lighter. I think they must have they must put like air in it to make it fluffier and make it physically lighter. But I like it, and I still can't eat the entire pint, even though it's 300 to 350 calories or whatever it is. I still can't do that. But I mean, you're able to delve into sweet treats without like all those additional calories that you don't need. You still get that, but I mean, there are alternatives, and you just have to look for those.
Yeah, and you say the word calorie, and people really don't understand the importance of a calorie. There's
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm not going to count calories. Like, why does it matter? It's go look in the mirror. This is why it
Mhm.
matters. If you're taking in 5,000 calories, whether they're healthy or rubbish, but your body's not burning through those calories, there's a storage of excess in the human body. And you can look at the obesity in the United States and see, like, you're eating too much. The whole 3 meals a day, like, I bet you
Mhm.
fast quite often, or you have maybe 1 or 2 meals a day,
I
not
have, yeah.
3 meals. Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, our human body was not designed to have three massive meals a day. And you go to any restaurant in America almost, and you get this massive plate of food, and
Mhm.
you're going, this would feed a family. Like, go over to Southeast Asia, this is a family meal. Like, us having 2-liter gallons of soda is ridiculous. I've watched people just drink that thing, for the gallon jugs from the
Mhm.
gas station. Like, that serves an entire Asian family for a week.
Mhm.
Right? Pay attention to what you're consuming.
And it's funny that you say that because, being here in Vegas, we have an abundance of restaurants. And I was just on the strip like not too long ago. It was 10 p.m., about 10 p.m. And I just wanted some food, had just gotten out of a show. And I went to this restaurant and I ordered a plate of food. It was ceviche, right? And the waiter asked, "Okay, so what's your main course going to be?" I'm like, and I was confused. I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, how small is this course?"
I just ordered.
Yeah, like I literally just ordered this plate, and I mean, because people don't understand or don't realize at that moment all those excess calories that they're eating, and you're you shouldn't waste your calories on cheap calories because calories are units of energy and you need to use those units of energy. And if you're just wasting all of your calories on cheap food, you're going to feel
Nutritious food,
yeah
non-nutritious. Yeah.
yeah, you're going to feel it. And
Oh, 100%.
it's just one of those things you need. I don't know if it's discipline or if it's just education, but it's something.
I would say it's a combination of definitely the discipline and the ownership. We don't most people that I see raising their children, they don't really teach them ownership and responsibility. Like, the kid is looking for external gratification. Like, we said the term instant gratification.
Right.
The children are looking for an external gratification. Like, hey, mom, look at me. Did I do this right? Aren't you proud of me? Um, hey, you get a participant badge for participating. No, kid, you don't. You get a badge if you win first place. You don't get one for participating. So it's almost like we're model coddling them and not setting them up for success and for ownership. So people look at me and my kids and they think that I'm a little bit harsh on them.
Mhm.
It's not physically harsh, it's discipline, because one day I will not be here and I need them to be able to think clearly for themselves, be able to read the situation and make decisions that further their cause, right? And if they make a decision that doesn't further their cause, I want them to recognize that. And if they
Mhm.
accept that, that's cool, that's on them. But I want them to be able to think like that. And I don't think society or parents in general teach that now. Kind of like, I think there's a term, helicopter parents, that you just
Mhm.
hover over them and you're trying to protect them because you love them. And I get that, but you're not doing them any, I don't think you're doing them any favors in the future. Like, of course, my kid doesn't like cleaning the yard up in the moment. But later on, when she's able to go in the yard and play and ride her bike and it's all cleaned up, she's like, oh, this looks nice and it's good. She starts to see the value in it. And so the experience, I think parents need to become better. Teach your kid, give them the opportunities for experiences, all kinds of experiences, because that's where in the military, you don't become a special operator on day one of the course. Like, you make it through the course potentially, and then you go operationally. And then over the years, you get more and more experience. And that's how you become intelligent and make better decisions with experience.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it just seems that all that extra noise, it's also getting in the way of being aware. And you also talk about self-awareness. And I think it's just getting worse because there is all this extra noise now. People are just so uh people are putting their attention elsewhere where
Right.
and not where it's supposed to be.
Right. And so that comes back to do a self assessment of what you spend your time on. A couple years ago, I had a joke with my sister. She was sending a text message, and I said, how many text messages do you send a day? And she was like, maybe 30 or 40. I was like, why don't you go pull your logs and see how many text messages you send? And she was floored by it. And some of them might be me and you texting back and forth, like short answers. So maybe there's 10 texts, but it's really just a small 30-second conversation. Right. But when she saw the data, you can't argue with the data. When you look at the data, you might not like it, but
Mhm.
it's data, it's truth. You look at it and go, oh my God, how long did that take me? That was 3 hours of my day, and there's only 24 hours in a day. It takes a person to look at that and go, let me reduce that by 1 hour and spend that 1 hour doing something else. And the noise, you mentioned people aren't aware of the noise. This is something that in the military is referred to as situational awareness. And unfortunately, it's got a bad rap. Everybody thinks it's like a tactical thing, like I got to check my six every 5 seconds. Nothing, don't even think of it that way. Situational awareness is three things. Am I aware of my current environment? Do I understand its condition, like its baseline? Things are normal at this time of day in this area. And then what is changing, right? And if people look at their lives and become aware, as you said, of my life, how many hours a day am I doing that's not adding value to my life? Like, it may like bring you a little bit of comfort to sit on a comfortable couch and do some scrolling, but if it's not adding value to your life, that's one of the first things you have to become aware of. So you have to ask yourself those questions. Like, you can pay me to come watch your life, but that's not cool. Like, you have to have ownership and you have to take some responsibility for your own actions.
Yeah, and it just seems like everyone's distracted. Everyone's distracted with their own life to really be aware of, situational awareness, but being aware of everything
Mhm,
that's going on around them.
mhm. You, so you say, with everything going on, people were asking me some things about their, and I tell you what, I only research about 10 minutes a day about it. I'm looking for very specific information. Now, I could put Fox News on or CNN and I could listen to it all day long, but that's not healthy for my current life. Like, there's only certain
Mhm.
things I want to know about it. And so I limit, as you do in the morning, I limit my time and my research into it. I don't go onto social media or the internet just to scroll around because I will go for hours and then I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted 2 hours of my life. Now, I'm not saying don't do it. Like, if you have, every Thursday night, you take 2 hours for yourself and that's what you're going to do because it relaxes you, by all means, go do that. Just don't do it every single day. It goes back to that bad habit. Like, if you do it every day, it's potentially bad. But if you only do it once a week, maybe it's not so bad, right?
Right. No, yeah, that is absolutely correct. But I mean, I don't know what happens because it just seems like it's getting worse, right? It has to be.
I think it, I think yeah, it's there's more technology coming out. There's more programs that are coming out with AI that just do things so rapidly for you. Like, I pulled up Google Maps yesterday on a computer to show my daughter somewhere that I've got to go to another work trip in a couple of weeks, and I was showing her the location on a map, and I laughed to myself out loud. I typed in maps.google. I went to the search bar. I typed in the name of the location,
Mhm.
and there it is, a satellite image that I can fly around and look at real time, nearly real time.
Mhm.
And I was thinking to my kid, like, man, I used to have to go to a library, find an atlas, know how to use an atlas, know the alphabet, the order, know what continent this country is in, just to find this location. Like, the ease of things that we have in America right now, generally around, is phenomenal. And so now, how do we structure our life positively with all that access? You got to limit it somehow.
Yeah, and I mean, now with AI, like people are not even going to Google anymore. They could have AI write them an entire essay on a subject, and it'll do
Okay.
it.
Yeah. And it gets you the grade that you're wanting, but it doesn't give you the experience or the knowledge or the understanding of the topic. Like,
Mhm.
I'm not saying don't use AI, but understand what that subject is. Don't just, here's the other thing, like, don't just check a box, like, oh, I got to turn this in, right? There's some things that I just need to put minimal effort in and get it turned in. There's other things that I really need to focus on. And the noise comes when you or I are telling people what they need to
Mhm.
focus on, or social media is telling them you should focus on this. No, man, you need to look at yourself. What's your health requirements? Another reason I say Alex's name again is because he does not give you a general thing to do.
Mhm.
He looks at every single individual as a human being, as an individual. You might be okay with dairy. I might not be okay with dairy.
Mhm.
He digs into every little detail he can about those persons. And so that's attention to detail. And that's something I think us as a society, we're missing attention to details. Like, to that noise. So limit some of it. Like, if you're into these things, by all means, keep scrolling those social posts, but get rid of all the other stuff that pops
Right.
up. Turn all the
Mhm.
pop-ups off, get rid of the distractions, change the color of it, back to ownership of yourself.
Yeah, and I just hope that people realize that because when you give them the option to build their build up their own discipline, a lot of people just ignore that, and it just seems like it's something that needs to be enforced to them by someone else because a lot of people lack that self discipline.
So this is actually how CrossFit blew up. Like, Coach Glassman was teaching private one-on-one clients in his garage in LA, charging, I'll make up the numbers, $100 for this person for an hour, and he had three clients back to back. That's 3 hours of work at $300. What he found out was, hey, you know what? Let me get the three of you in a single hour together. You're going to get less time because I'm going to focus on all three of you. So I'm going to reduce it down to $80. So
Mhm.
now he's making $240 an hour, but he's only working 1 hour with three clients instead of 3 hours. What he found out was those three people motivated one another. They held each other accountable. And all of a sudden, he's like, this is the business model. And that's how CrossFit classes came about. Because if you go do a CrossFit workout, Murphy by yourself, Mate, it's miserable. You better have some mental fortitude to get through that thing. But if you do it with 20 or 30 other people, it's a community.
Yeah.
And it goes back to human behavior, human psychology, that we are designed as tribe people, as a community. There's a few, there's always outliers on either end of the spectrum, but most of us, we need a community to be around, to support one another. What you said, want to be able to support you and hold you accountable. I don't want to force you to do the workout, but hey, man, if Erik's going to get up at 4 o'clock and you're somewhere else in the world, or I'm somewhere else in the world, how about I get up at the same time as you? We'll send each other a text message. I'm up. I'm getting after it. One of the things that, you know who Jocko is? You heard his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things he did to make himself more present in the social media is he made a post on Instagram and he said, for the next 365 days, I'm going to post my aftermath of my workout. And it was going to be like at 5 a.m. in the morning, no matter where he was at in the world. And he kept through it. Like he did it. Like every morning, you could go wait around 5 o'clock. I think it was around 5 a.m.
Mhm.
He would take a picture of his post workout sweat, get after it. Like, what's your excuse? Laying in bed all warm and comfortable? Like, what's your
Right.
excuse? And if you want to swallow that pill and put your phone down and go back to sleep, I got nothing for you.
Mm.
Right. But if you go, you know what? If that person's doing it, I can do it. Like if it
Yeah.
was my mom or baby on the side of the bed that said, hey, I'm cold, I need you to get out of bed, help me, you would do it. But for yourself, man, it's hard for people, right? So my one recommendation for today would be find someone that you respect, that the two of you can hold each other accountable for. And it can be over social media. It can be somebody around the world, or it can be somebody that you're going to meet at the gym that morning, or you're going to meet outside just to go for a walk. Like you're now accountable for someone else. And that changes our psychology. If you just do it for yourself, probably not enough people have enough discipline for that. But
Mhm.
accountability and community, I think that'd be a good start.
Oh, I agree, but I think that's a great point to leave it at. And I would like to see more people being accountable to their own actions, and that's when that's what I mean by watching even the food that you eat, because watching the calories, it holds you accountable to keep on this constant goal of being healthier. But yeah, I totally agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it was great having you on, man.
I appreciate it, man. I hope you're enjoying Las Vegas a little bit. It's getting hot out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's we've already reached 100 degrees in March. It's just going to keep getting hotter this month around.
Yeah, beautiful in the wintertime, but man, the summers are brutal.
Oh yeah, but I think I've just gotten used to it by now. I mean, you have to. You can't really do anything about it, right?
Dude, such a good point. You got another minute? We'll talk about that.
Let's go ahead.
Perfect what you said. You got used to it. Like, who in their right mind says, you know what? I'm going to move to a location that it's scorching hot outside, where at 12 o'clock, if I'm standing out in the direct sunlight, I'm going to start sweating. Like,
Mhm,
nobody in their right mind really says, I'm going to go do that. But they go there for the life or the career, and they just assimilate. They
mhm,
become accustomed. You said you get used to it.
mhm,
So let's say this, if you can set your alarm for 30 minutes earlier than what you currently do, and this is for the audience, wake up 30 minutes earlier. Have your shoes, your socks, your outfit sitting next to you. Wake up 30 minutes earlier, roll directly out of bed while you're tired, put those on, use the bathroom, have a sip of water. I don't care if you walk around your house.
mhm,
Go out your house, walk around your house, walk 5 minutes down the street, walk 5 minutes back down the street. Spend that 30 minutes doing that for yourself. And if you do that for 1 month, you're going to go, wow, I'm just kind of used to it now. But really, what's going to happen is your brain's going to go, that's my time. That's my
mhm,
dopamine hit. I actually miss that. And here's the thing about military veterans, when you get out of the military, you don't have this PT structure anymore and
mhm.
you miss it. Like you miss, like if I took your mornings away from you,
Yeah.
you would go nuts. You're like, I need that workout now. The first week you did it, you're like, oh, I want to be back in bed. Right.
Mhm.
You actually just get accustomed to it. Right.
Yeah.
And so you said it
Right.
not knowing that's really what's going to happen. That's why I need to
Mhm.
do it for so long. And then my body accepts it. And I'm like, oh, I like this. This is healthy for me. I need it now.
Yeah, because I don't remember the last time that I said I don't even think I've ever had that experience, that a lot of people experience, that they get up in the morning and they have to do the workout and they don't want to. I just don't get that because it's such a routine to me that I never once get up in the morning and think to myself like, damn, I have to do my workout. Like I just don't get that. And I think it's one of those things you just get used to it. It's a routine. It's just normal to you now.
Now it is. It's getting to that what when it becomes normal, right? That's
Mhm.
the difficult part for people to get to. But at the CrossFit gym, like after any hard workout, hey, people are hugging each other. Like, I mean, jujitsu, you fight somebody for 5, 10 minutes that's trying to break your limbs or choke you unconscious. And then you stand up, you high five each other, and you give each other a hug. Like the dopamine release
Mhm.
is phenomenal. You got to do the hard, difficult stuff to get the reward.
Oh yeah.
You've done it long enough now that it's a part of your life. And that's no longer a fad for you. It's a way of life for you, and it adds positive value. That's what we got to get
Mhm.
hundreds of thousands of other people to do.
Yeah, and I really believe it could be possible now. There's a huge trend with protein being in everything. So at least we're heading towards that direction. Now, the education of even when it comes to protein, and it goes back to the food pyramid, is that you're eating a lot of snacks, a lot of food that is advertised as being protein heavy, but it comes along with all of this other extra
But the other
stuff.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So it's a combination of wanting to head towards the right direction, but knowing what you're doing and not listening to all of this noise telling you like you might be actually doing something good for yourself when in fact it might not be that good.
Yeah, 100%, man. Don't just because somebody else is doing it, and I say this about myself, just because I'm doing something doesn't mean somebody else has to do it. That might not be how you get your dopamine hit. So there's going to be a trial and error, and it goes back to the bad habit. Change a bad habit to a good habit. You may find out like this new habit, it's not really the one I want. So you can alter it and change it again. Trial and error over time, your body will let you know what's working and what's not working
Mhm.
if you're paying attention.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been great having you on.
I appreciate it, man. I know you got a busy day ahead of you, so I'll stop
Yeah.
talking. So I'll talk
I
all.
mean, we could go on for another hour or two,
Yeah.
but
No, I appreciate it, man. It was great meeting you, and I'd like to sit down again. And if I make it, I'll be back out in Vegas in a couple of months or so. I'll reach out to you.
all right, for sure. Yeah, let's do it again sometime.
All right, man. We'll go get a workout in and then post it for the world to see that we did it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm down with that.
All right, man.
All
You
right,
take care of yourself. Have a great day.
you too.